Today we are going to start our third chapter, India and European Colonialism. In this lesson we are going to learn about the spread of colonialism in India and its impact. The Portuguese, British, Dutch and French, how they established their power in India, we are going to learn one by one. Colonial power that established in India was Portuguese. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese seafarer, reached the port of Calicut, that is Kozhikode, in 1498. Once landed on the Indian coast, the Portuguese did not take long time to establish themselves in India. By the beginning of 16th century, Portuguese had brought a considerable portion of Indian coast under their control. The Portuguese took advantage of the strain, which meant exhausted relations among the various rulers in South India. They established their colonies on the western coast and built forts for their protection, and used them to protect their colonies from external attack and to reinforce them continuously with supplies by using seaways. The Portuguese naval force was very strong. They used their naval force to launch sudden attacks on their enemy's territory from the sea and wrecked it completely. The Indian local rulers could not match the Portuguese in their war tactics. Later, when they established their firm control on the Indian Ocean, it became necessary for the Indian rulers to get a license, that is Kartas. Kartas usually carried details like the name of the vessel, the name of the captain of the ship, port of departure and arrival, the list of weaponry on the ship loaded for the purpose of self-defense. If the local rulers dared to set out on the sea without a Portuguese license, the ship were either seized or sunk by force. The Portuguese had become so powerful that even the mighty Mughals and the sultanates in the south had to buy license from them. 1608, the Portuguese had their colonies on the western coast of India at Diu, Daman, Chol, Kannauр, Kolan, etc. Similarly, on the eastern coast, they had trade colonies at Nagapattinam, Malapur, Hooghly in Bengal. The stretch of the Portuguese Empire had its capital at Goa. The Portuguese colony had spread from Cape of Good Hope to Macau in China. They all were considered to be the part of Indian Empire of the Portuguese, Ista da India. There were several office holders appointed by the Portuguese king. Viceroy, Capitão I Geral, that is a viceroy and general of the army for 3-year tenure. There used to be an advisory board to assist the viceroy, which include the Archbishop of Goa, judge in charge of company's possession, captain and few aristocrats from Portugal. Viceroy used to be the presiding head of the administrative setup. In the earlier half of the 17th century, 5 ships used to arrive every year in Indian ports. These ships were equipped with cannon. The Portuguese had ship-building facilities at Goa, Diu and Daman. Durable teak wood of best quality, essential for building ships, was available in these regions. The Portuguese used to deploy seamen from Portugal to India. In those times, Indian ruler did not maintain a naval force. Therefore, Indian ruler found it difficult to fight the strong naval forces of the Portuguese. Only one exception was that of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who had built his own navy. The Dutch and the British defeated the Portuguese naval forces in the 17th century in the sea battles. Of Calicut wrote to the King of Portugal in a letter sent with Vasco da Gama. Our state is rich in spices like cloves, ginger, black pepper, and precious stone. We expect you to pay us in gold, silver, coral in exchange for our spices and precious stone. Vasco da Gama sold the commodities in Portugal, which he carried from India. He could earn huge amount of money in that trade, which was 60 times more than the money he spent for his return journey to Portugal. The Portuguese prohibited building of any religious monument except churches in the Indian provinces under their control. They also prohibited celebration of religious festivals or wedding functions. The Portuguese ruler also tried to suppress the local languages. People were offered employment with the intention to attract them to Christianity. In the beginning of their rule, they made Goa a free port that resulted in attracting traders from various countries to Goa. The British East India Company was established on 31st December 1600. Queen Elizabeth granted permission to the company to trade in the eastern countries. In the beginning, the East India Company's operations were limited to send their cargoes to the eastern countries, to sell the British goods in those countries, to buy spices with the profit earned there, and the cash carried from home to sell the spices in England and to earn profit. The sailboats of those days needed to plan their forward and backward voyages in specific period of the year. Therefore, to carry out trade transaction was more tedious. Under such circumstances, the British were in need of a permanent place to build warehouses to store the goods bought at low prices. The British board used to sail from England during the month of December to April and used to return to England after an year in the month of January after completing trade transaction in India. This required that they to stay in India over a period of 9 to 13 months. Hence, they decided to build their factory in India. The staff of the factories were called factors. 1623, the British government under the civil and military law granted the company an authority of adopting punitive measure for the earning staff. The company was also given the right to monopoly to trade in the eastern countries. Charles II, the King of England, issued a charter allowing the company to build forts in India, to maintain an army, and to make treaties with non-Christians. In the latter half of the 17th century, the company operated from Surat and Madras, the eastern coast, Odisha, Bengal in India, and other eastern countries were under the company's jurisdiction. The factories at Rajapur in Maharashtra, port of Mocha in the Red Sea, Yemen, Basra in the Persian Gulf were controlled by the Surat Center. The Surat factory staff comprised of an accountant, an in charge of the store, a treasurer, some factors and clerk. In addition, there was Christian priest, a surgeon and his assistant, cook, company president, personal servants and a trumpet blower. The British used to acquire a large plot of land for their factories. These plots were used to build warehouses, residential quarters and offices were built on these plots. The main building of the factory carried Union Jack. The meal provided to the staff included bread, meat, rice, khichdi of pulses, and rice pickles, etc. Company had created beautiful gardens for the benefit of the staff at Surat, Karwar, Machilipatnam, Chennai, Mumbai, etc. The British citizens were also appointed in the factories as apprentices, the person who learned trade from skilled employer, clerk and factors. Everybody right from the president to the apprentice live in the factory premises. All were provided food by the company mess. They were permitted to trade various commodities except those which were banned by the company, such as textile, indigo, spices, wool, lead, coral, ivory, etc. The company started building forts in India as a part of their strategy. They built a fort and a factory in Chennai. The fort was named as Fort St. George. A mint was also established in Chennai. Mint is actually a place where money is coined. The British issue their own coinage of gold, silver, alloys, and coppers from this mint. In 1661, Charles II, the King of England, was engaged to Braganza, the Princess of Portugal. The King of Portugal gifted the island of Mumbai to Charles II on this occasion. Abraham Shipman, an Englishman, was assigned 500 soldiers and was appointed as the governor of Bombay. In 1665, Mumbai was fully under the British control. Mumbai comprised 7 islands, namely Mumbai, Mahim, Paral, Wadala, Waroli, Sain, and Mazgaon. Charles II leased Mumbai to the East India Company because the expenditure for its maintenance exceeded than the income earned from it. In 1669, the company appointed Sir George Oxenden as governor of Surat and commander-in-chief of Mumbai. A British mint was established in Mumbai and coins of silver, copper and zinc were issued from there. This encouraged merchants and artisans to come and settle down in Mumbai. The company had 5-6 small ships and around 300 soldiers to ensure the security of Mumbai. The soldiers were given guns and swords. In 1602, several Dutch companies came together to form a company named United East India. The Dutch government issued a license to the company to conduct trading with the eastern countries. The same license permitted them to appoint staff, to establish factories, to build forts, to engage in battle against the eastern countries, and also to sign treaties with them. Accordingly, the company appointed a Governor General to take care of the Indian affairs. By the middle of the 17th century, the company had established Dutch colonies and factories right from the eastern coast of Africa to Japan. It encompassed the present-day region of Mozambique, South Africa, Yemen, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Siam, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Taiwan, China, Japan, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The Dutch built various buildings in the premises of their factories and also fortification wall around them. They installed cannon of the fortification wall for security. The Dutch also had native people in their staff. They established their first factory in 1602 at Pitapolli in the northern parts of Coromandel coast. Coromandel is actually a place of grain. Their other factories were built in Machilipatnam, Pulikkad, Karikal, Agra, Ahmedabad, Chinsura, Tata, Nagapattan, etc. They obtained permission from the Vijayanagara court and built forts in Pulikkad and Nagapattan. Later, they defeated the Portuguese and acquired the fort at Kochi, Kondugular, Kannur, and Kolan. They also obtained monopoly in black pepper trade by entering a treaty with the king of Kochi. At the beginning of the 17th century, the Dutch naval force was very strong. At any given movement, they could deploy at least 20 warships and an army of 3,000–4,000 soldiers. The Mughal, Adil Shahi and the Qutub Shahi ships were required to obtain license from the Dutch. If any ship was launched without a license, it was seized by the Dutch. In 1664, French East India Company was established with the initiative of Jean-Baptiste Colbert, the French finance minister to King Louis XIV. The company was given the authority to trade with eastern countries, to maintain army and navy, and also exemption from taxes. The company was also given the authority to enter a war or treaty with the eastern rulers. In 1666, the company sent a diplomatic contingent to the court of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb and obtained the permission to establish a factory in Surat. The first French factory in Surat was established in 1668. Then the factories at Pondicherry, Chandranagar, Mahi, Karikal and Machilipatnam were built. During this period, the French were fighting with the Qutub Shahi ruler and the Dutch. Pondicherry was the main center of the French operation. It was ruled by the Nawab of Karnataka. The members of the Nawab's family were fighting among themselves for the throne. The British and the French started intervening in the matter. It resulted in 3 battles between the French and the British from 1744 to 1763 Common Era. These are known as Carnatic Wars. The French were defeated by the British in the third battle. With the defeat of the French, there was no European rival left in India for the British.